Revolutionary greetings, Africa. My name is Phil Solomon Mazorodze. I want to discuss how the liberation movements have disconnected themselves from the people. We have notable revolutionary parties such as Frelimo of Mozambique, SWAPO, we have what do you call it, ANC of South Africa, ZANU-PF of Zimbabwe, among other liberation movements. But when you look at it, most of the promises that were made when they went to war to liberate the countries, we can say have been put aside for a certain different thinking that has made the people believe that they were cheated. For example, most of the liberation struggle, liberation movements, they went to war under they believed that whatever they were going to get was going to be shared amongst the people of those countries that they were fighting for. But when the war ended, we had people who began to absorb the same systems that they were fighting. If you look at most of the countries that we fought in the struggle to get independence, most of them went in the socialist Marxist belief, but when they came back, most of them, they've adopted the same capitalist ideology that they were fighting. So to the people, it was more of a betrayal, because most of the people who are in the forest, who died there and were never buried, we have mass graves across the continent of people who went there simply because of an ideology which they believed was socialism, which, by the way, socialism believes that the resources belong to the people and the role of the government is to help them share the resources, which was exactly and is still exactly what the people wish to have, considering that Africa has an abundance of resources. But when you look at it, we now have the ruling elite and the poor people at the bottom of the hierarchy of every country that fought for the independence. Then we also have issues to do with the sharing of wealth. I understand we all believed in the Mao Zedong believed that people are the water and the liberators were like fish. After the fish had gained all the wealth, they began to disassociate themselves with the water. That is the reason why you can see that the support of the liberation struggle, of the liberation parties, the liberation movements, is continuously shrinking. It is because the people are still in pain and disbelief that after fighting together, they were so detached again from the parties and the people that they fought hand in hand with to get the independence. So we need to create that that connection. It is not by coincidence that we see countries like Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore is becoming very much popular with the people. If you look at his ideas, they are the same ideas that Kwame Nkrumah was fighting for. They are the same ideas that Mwalimu Nyerere was fighting for. They are the same ideas that Samora Machel was fighting for. They are the same ideas that Nelson Mandela was fighting for. We have Seretse Khama, we have Patrice Lumumba, we have Robert Mugabe, we have Kenneth Kaunda, we have Sam Nujoma. All those are the values that those people were fighting for. That is the same idea that Ibrahim Traore is fighting for today. But where is it? The people have already forgotten, the leaders have already forgotten. We are beginning to see the waking up or the resurrection of SWAPO in Namibia. The current leader, the current president is pledging to finance education for free. These are the common grievances that the people have. They want their children educated for free. They want their children to gain access to the natural resources of the country. We want to have a share of the resources that the land has. Remember, there's one thing. Land is a birthright. And what is on earth, on land is a birthright to every citizen of the country. So we can never have a support, we can never have a rest until we acknowledge that land resource belongs to everyone. Everyone should have a share of land. Everyone should have a share of what is found on land. Those are natural gifts that God gave us as a people. We did not make a choice on that. We should only have an issue when it comes to things that we can recreate on earth, such as the patterns. That's why we have royalties and patterns. They are designed for people to recreate. Anything else that has been created by God should be shared. So we should remember that people don't hate SANPF. People don't hate SWAPO. People don't hate ANC. People don't hate Frelimo. Among other great liberation movements, people don't hate them. They are simply disassociating with certain leaders who have moved away from the people. The people's needs are simply to share the resources. Let's work together and share resources. That is the people's grievance. So whenever we have a party that brings that into effect, that party or that leader is likely to be a darling of the people automatically, because people want to share their resources. People want to work on the resources and get a share of what they are working for. That is just simple. We are not in a war. No one is not in a war. Nobody loves the smell of ammunition. Nobody loves the sound of a gun. We simply want to share the resources. I, for one, I am a sympathizer with the liberation movements, but I am one of the people who are disappointed by liberation movements because they have disassociated with what gave them power was the people. And what gave them power was an ideology. They have disassociated themselves from the ideology that gave them power. Let's go back, let's revert back, let's reset, let's refresh, and become those parties that any young person would wish to be part of. That any young person or any individual or any human would want to be associated with. It was an ideology that makes us share the resources. It was an ideology that bound us together. It was an ideology that serves the people ahead of personal interests. It was an ideology that brings all of us together in belief, in defense of our sovereignty and integrity of our society. Thank you, Africa. Thank you.